Okay, right now we are in front of Sanam Luang. To the back is Thammasat University campus. Over there is Wat Phra Way on the back there is the appeal court. And as you can see right now, Sanam Luang is filling up. However, we are not inside. Earlier we were inside in the press box, but internet connection inside is very. Step outside. Some of you guys who follow Disrupt and read our articles may know Ang from our most famous and perhaps most controversial article Disrupt ever published, the one she wrote about privileged kids, especially international students or Dek Inter. Now I'm going to let Ang introduce herself for a little bit. Go ahead.
Hi everyone, my name is Ang and as Peter and I said, I write under my real name, Cros Rn Opilan, and I am again here at another protest today and excited to see what will be going on today, but there's not much going on yet, so yeah.
Okay, Ang, you are right now 16?
Yeah.
16 years old. 16 going on 17. Now I've talked to a lot of students, young people, and they all pretty much say the same thing. A lot of them want to come to this protest. However, their parents do not want them to come. Their parents are saying that if they come, there might be violence, they might be charged with some crimes, there might be a lot of horrible things that could happen to them. However, as I understand it, you are here with your mom. Can you explain that dynamic to me and the audience right there, please?
So I think personally, my personal relationship with my parents are very supportive of what I do in terms of my interest in politics and everything. And I think another thing that my parents kind of know is even if they say that, you know, they don't want me to come, I'll find a way and I'll come here eventually. So I think for all the parents who are concerned about the child's safety, I think in the end, if we're always, you know, scared for safety, crimes and things like that, we're living under this like fear, and that won't work if we're fighting for democracy. And I think for my parents, it's better for them to be here with me, even though they might be supportive or not supportive, because again, ultimately, if I'll end up here anyways, it's better for them to be beside me and supportive. And I think that's what I hope to see from all of my peers. But like Pierre and I said, usually for the protest at the Democracy Monument, things like that, I always have a couple of my friends come with me. But for today's protest at Thammasat, all of my friends kind of had to bail on me because their parents didn't allow them to come to this protest. So it's just me and my mom today.
Okay, that's kind of interesting. Let's talk about this culture of fear that your parents' generation live in, which is basically my generation, and also in contrast, your generation, you do not live in that culture of fear anymore. You do have the courage to come out. You do have the courage to speak up, except for some of your friends who parents do not allow to come out. But that's understandable because they are only 15, 16 perhaps. But what makes it different? Why do you guys have the courage? And why do people my generation do not have?
I think with our generation, I think it comes with this notion of like we're done with this bullshit. I think personally for me, and also it's not about fighting for like the entire of Thai population, fighting for everyone else. It's about mostly fighting out for ourselves. Like a lot of people ask me, you know, why are you coming out to be an activist? Why are you coming out to write and speak about all these issues concerning the conservative environment that I live in, school-wise and things like that. I think it's from not this. Other people see it as me trying to change society or influence other people my age, but I mean, that is kind of like a byproduct. But what I'm doing here, coming to protest, writing and speaking out about, it's just me being concerned for my future, because I think a lot of Gen Zs or people around my age want to live in a democratic future, a future where I won't have to be afraid of, you know, getting expelled if I come here today. And I guess we'll see next week if I get called in, but yeah.
Okay, you talk about the future. What future do you have to be concerned about? Obviously, you are wealthy. What future do you have to be concerned about? Obviously, you are wealthy. Obviously, you go to a very prestigious school. You speak English perfectly, much better than my English. Look at the way you dress. You're very fashionable. Your life is good. Your future is in good hand. As I understand it, you're going to be attending college in America. Something like that, right? Your future is good. You are among the elite. So what is it to you? What bad future are you talking about?
I think speaking out in terms of like maybe
Keep going, that's okay.
I guess for more privileged community, I guess. Personally, for me, what I am afraid of is no matter how privileged you are, freedom of speech is not what we have here in Thailand. I cannot decide to come speak freely about many things right now in Thailand, although I am part of many people may call elite, because as what has happened, I have been maybe not officially called in by my school, but I had a bit of conversations with my teachers on things that I should or should not say about this. And also, for us, it's about freedom of speech. That's what I am concerned about most. But another thing that I want people in the maybe the elite group of the privileged group to be more concerned about is to stop being apathetic and give care more about the things that are happening around us. Because from what my I am so sorry.
It's live TV.
But yeah, what we don't know is that people who live in the privileged society or the elite society, they have the power to create change, especially as youth in the next 10 years. People like me, my friends who are, a lot of them are from very wealthy families. They have the power to change the economy if they become owners or they succeed their family's business. And if they don't care about what's happening around us, if they don't care about the price of the rice, the oil, ราคาข้าวราคาอย่างน้ำมัน and things like that, they're living in this bubble of apathy. And they should know that their decisions to decide to come speak out about this can do so much more than they think.
Okay. Internet connection is very bad. We're gonna find a different spot and we'll be back with Ang Ang, okay? Okay, right, we're back again. We had to move our spot because once again the internet connection was very bad inside. Hopefully things will be better. Right now we are on the street right in between the campus and Sanam Luang. And let's go back to Ang Ang. Last we left off, we were discussing your life. You are elite. Your life is wonderful. Your future is great. So what future or whose future are you fighting for?
I think it's not just about, for those out there who might be in a more privileged kind of society, it's not just about fighting for our future, because obviously we don't have that much to lose, but it's about waking up, and looking around you. It's not about caring just about yourself, but others. It's about knowing that your choices in the future, because of course, many of my friends have parents that are very wealthy, that own large corporations, that influence Thailand's economy, Thailand's GDP. And if we open our eyes and start to give a crap about these things, it's not just our future, but it's the future of everyone else, of the working class, of the lower income classes. And it's very important to know that no matter how privileged you are, how elite you are, you have the power to change that. And we have to burst out this bubble of privilege, of not giving crap, of thinking that, this doesn't affect us, because although it may not affect you directly, it affects the lives of so many more people. It affects lives of 1,000, 10,000 of other Thais who are in the working class or low income class. And just you coming out to speak about it or voting in the next 10 years when you're 18 can impact so much, have much more impact than you think.
Okay, now repeat once again. I am your parents' generation. I am old enough to be your father, and I can tell you right now, the people from my generation is all about making money. It's all about the career success. That's your measurement in life. And a lot of my friends, they are captains of industries, and managing directors, CEOs, vice presidents, so on and so forth. Some of them do care about what's going on. Many of them do support the pro-democracy protest, but almost all of them would say the same thing. They don't want to step out. They don't want to step up because they have so much at stake. They have families, they have million or billion baht business to run. They have employees, they have wife, they have children, they have this and that. They have root in this society. So what can they do? What can they do in order to step out of that shell and be a part of change?
I think a lot of people, and I have seen, I agree that a lot of people who are, although may have are in the privileged class, they do care. A lot of my friends say that they care about what is happening in Thailand, but they're afraid to speak out. They're in the silence, I think. But what I'm saying is that if there is fear, then there is no true democracy. If you're here to say that, I think there is already democracy in Thailand, but I want a bit more freedom of speech and things like that. But then if you're still afraid to speak out, then there will never be a day that we can have true democracy. And it's the fear itself. I say that it's understandable. There's a lot at stake for many people. But in the end, I wanted to think at it as it's not just about you, it's about other people. And it's very important that you have to, again, like give a shit about what's happening around in Thailand. If you care about it, but you're afraid, then there's no point, you know. You have to speak up about it. Use the privilege you have, the power you have, the wealth you have to do something about this. Because if everyone is afraid, if everyone in the privileged class is afraid, then nothing can happen. I think I have seen an interview in Thai and says คนที่มีต้นทุนมันสำคัญมากที่จะให้คนที่มีต้นทุนทางสังคมออกมาพูดเรื่องนี้เพราะว่าเขาเป็นกลุ่มที่จะสามารถสร้างความเปลี่ยนแปลงได้ meaning that you know it's very important to have people with privilege, people with power to speak up about it because they are the ones who can actually create change, influence, have the largest influence. But if everyone is thinking like, oh, what I have at stake, you know, then it's never going to work. But on the contrary, everyone there's a risk for anything. If they are willing to take that risk, then I think change would be able to happen.
Okay, so basically you're saying if you're rich, then you can afford to make the sacrifice. You can afford to give back. But right now, all we are seeing is middle class people, even working class people, they are the one making the sacrifice rather than rich people, right? One last thing, what sort of backlash have you received ever since you started writing for Disrupt and also possibly following this interview? I have heard horrible stories about the things people have said about you. You betray your class, you betray your peers. What kind of an elite are you? What kind of an ungrateful child are you? Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yes, I guess not just a little bit because there's a lot of backlash.
Let them hear it, let them have it.
I think it didn't just start with when I wrote with Disrupt. I think the big one started there, but even before that, I was an advocate for, you know, a lot of social issues here in Thailand with my page and all of that. But once I came out to speak, especially about the international school student community or the community of the privileged kids, the backlash I got was that one of the craziest ones were that, this person has texted me on Instagram and said that, you know, we're from international school, right? We don't really have to care about this because it doesn't really affect us. And I was speechless. This is what I'm talking about, that the fact that people don't give a crap about things that is happening outside of their lives. And another backlash that I was receiving is that, yes, the ungrateful part. A lot of people say, you know, you have the money, you have the power, your family has the wealth, you know, just take it, shut up, and leave this problem to deal with the people who are suffering at, you know, what is happening right now. And I think, again, I am speechless in the apathy. And I think another one is a lot of the school environment myself that I have been experiencing. Definitely my school is a more conservative school in terms of the faculty and especially my friends. I have a lot of very close friends in my school, but once it comes to politics, we have a line that, you know, a thing that I say that I don't talk about politics with my friend because one, either they're ignorant or two, they completely disagree with what I am fighting for. Some of them even go far to say that we already have freedom of speech here in Thailand. And I think also on Twitter, I think people just saying that, you know, กระแดะก็มีกินแล้วจะออกมาพูดทำไม and things like that. And another girl texted me and said that, you know, we're actually not privileged because I don't own a Gucci bag. And I'm just like, so that's your measurement of privilege, brand names, which I completely disagree with, but a lot of not just like horrendous things being said at me, but a lot of crazy things too, which kind of reflected to why I'm speaking about this, why I decided to write more about it. But I guess to some or to many friends that are still at my school or to the teachers still at my school, they still don't agree with what I am fighting with, and I've been constantly still getting a lot of backlash. But I guess, I mean, if there's people who are going to support me, there's definitely people who are going to hate me, so I guess.
Well, okay, that's one example of the future of Thailand, which makes me feel better about things. Thank you, Ang. We'll continue finding people at the protest to interviews, to hear different opinions, so on and so forth. Right now, we're going to take a break. We will be back soon. Thank you. ขอบคุณมากครับ